Hey, what is up, mortals? It is JessicaGem here with a new video for you. Welcome to part number 3 of season 2 of What If Deku Met Ryoko. I just wanted to greet you guys by saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. And so, we begin. A short break was taken to clean up the stadium field. After the break, the remaining competitors gathered around the stage to see the results of the tag event. Midnight snapped her whip in a resolute fashion. These are the final scores of the tag event. The big screen displayed the scores. The competitors moving on to the final round were Midoriya, Melissa, Ryoko, Todoroki, Momo, Kaminari, Ida, Bakugo, Kirishima, Ashido, Sero, Ochako, Mei Hatsumi, Tokiyami, Tetsu, and Shinso. Ojiro, Nirangenki Shota, and Aoyama made it into the final round also. However, Aoyama was disqualified by the recovery girl because of severe stomach cramps. The wise hero said the boy had overused his quirk in the second round. Ojiro and Nirangenki both claimed that they did not remember anything from the tag event. Both boys withdrew from the finals, stating that they would not feel right moving forward. Midnight agreed to this position, with inappropriate language, and told Team Kendo to pick a member to move forward. Kendo and her teammates didn't feel right accepting, so they gave the honor to Team Tetsu. The team agreed that Tetsu should move forward. Midnight then snapped her whip. The final event will be... The sign that read "One-on-One Tournament" appeared on the big screen. Alright, we have a tournament on our hands. Midnight snapped her whip again, and the finalist names scrambled into pairs of 2. The matches would be Melissa vs. Shinso, Midoriya vs. Todoroki, Ryoko vs. Momo, Kaminari vs. Sero, Hatsumi vs. Tenya, Ashido vs. Tokiyami, and Bakugo vs. Uraraka. Midnight then declared that they would be taking an intermission to set up the field for the battles ahead. Ryoko turned to Melissa.
"Looks like you're facing that Shinso guy. Is he the one who declared war on our class earlier?"
"Yes, he is. And we don't really know what power he has. I'll need to be careful." Ryoko gave Melissa a thumbs up. She knew the blonde would do great. The white-haired girl looked around and noticed that Izuku was gone. She also didn't see Todoroki. Ryoko opened her life sense. She detected her green-haired friend a short distance away. She also detected Todoroki next to him. Melissa then spoke in a quizzical tone. "Hey, where did Midoriya go?" Ryoko opened her eyes.
"I know where he is. Follow me."
The 2 girls ran off the field together. A short distance away, Bakugo overheard the 2 fangirls and decided to follow them. In a nearby exit tunnel, Midoriya stood across from Todoroki. The 2 were deep in conversation. Todoroki revealed his past to Midoriya, how his father set up a quirk marriage to his mother, how the man had had several children hoping for a mixture of quirks that could compete with All Might, and how his father raised him to be a soldier in his attempt to become the #1 hero. Midoriya was surprised by this story. The green teen saw that Todoroki had the sad backstory of an old-school comic book hero. This also brought several things about Todoroki into focus. Todoroki then looked Midoriya in the eye. "I wanted you to know why I don't use my left side in combat. I plan to win our match using only my mother's quirk. I will not give my father the satisfaction of seeing me use his power." "I can't say I understand your reasons, Todoroki, but deciding how to fight your battles based on what will piss your father off is a sure way to lose. I and every other finalist are going to be giving the tournament our all. If you come at me with only half your power, you will lose." Todoroki furrowed his brow. "I think you overestimate your abilities, Midoriya. Plus, I am very capable with my ice. I can defeat you using only that." Midoriya stared at Todoroki with an adamant glare. "Are you trying to convince me or yourself?" The bicolored teen turned to leave the tunnel. "I will see you in the arena." Midoriya let out a huge sigh. The uptight teen hadn't realized that he'd been holding his breath until just now. As his nerves settled, Midoriya sensed that he was being watched. Now that he could focus, he detected 3 life signals around him. One was behind him, and 2 were just outside the tunnel. Midoriya spoke in a firm tone. "Ryoko, Melissa, you can come out now." On the outside of the tunnel, Melissa and Ryoko started to sweat. They worried what Midoriya would think about them listening in on his private conversation. After a short whispered exchange, the 2 girls decided to not hide what they did. They walked out and showed themselves to Midoriya. Ryoko had a nervous smile on her face.
"Sorry about that, Izuku."
Melissa nodded in agreement. Izuku had a blank expression on his face. What were the 2 of you doing? Melissa replied to the question in a concerned tone. Well, we didn't see you or Todoroki after the matches were announced, and we got worried.
I used my life sense to find you. We didn't know that Todoroki was giving you his tragic backstory.
After musing for a few moments, with an annoyed look on his face, Izuku said, It's okay, I'm not mad. Even though it was improper for you 2 to listen in, you truly had no way of knowing. The green teen then looked the girls in the eye. Do me a favor, don't tell any of our classmates about what you heard. If Todoroki wants them to know, then let him tell them. Both girls nodded in agreement. They told Izuku that they had no plan to tell the others. They said they now understood why Todoroki always distanced himself from the class. While they did feel bad for him, they would give him the time to work through his issues in his own way. Thank you both. Izuku then smiled at the 2 girls. How about you 2 head to the cafeteria and get us some seats? We could all use some food. Both girls got quizzical looks on their faces. Ryoko asked in a confused tone,
Aren't you coming?
I will in a moment, just let me collect my thoughts first. Both girls nodded in understanding. They left Midoriya to center himself. After the girls were out of sight, Midoriya once again called out, Come out, Kachan. I know you're there. Bakugo walked out with an annoyed look on his face.
Looks like that 6th sense of yours is getting better, Deku.
It is. What were you doing hiding in the shadows? That's not your style.
It isn't, and to tell the truth, it made me feel weird, like a freaking coward.
Midoriya could understand that feeling. So I take it you heard everything between me and Todoroki also. Bakugo glowered at Midoriya.
I did. Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. All that mess is Icy Hot's business. He can tell who he wants to tell. I don't give a crap about any of that.
Thanks for that. So, why are you here? Bakugo rubbed the back of his head, a look of uncertainty on his face.
I wanted to tell you sorry about how I've treated you in the past.
Midoriya was taken aback by his admission. Really, Kachan?
Didn't you hear me, nerd? And I don't just mean recent events, I mean everything. You didn't deserve any of the crap I gave you. A lot of it came from the fact that I felt inferior to you. I always felt like you were so far ahead of me when it came to being a hero. You were kind and selfless. You always wanted to help people, even though you were weak. Everyone looked at me like I was a natural-born hero, but I never felt like one, so I took it out on you.
That is a lot to take in. However, I only got this far because I wanted to be as strong as you. I admire All Might, but any time I think of what it means to be strong, I think of you, Kachan. So you are heroic in your own way. Both boys looked at each other with serious looks in their eyes. After a few moments, Bakugo's normal cocky glare returned.
Okay then, let's both give the finals our all. Unlike Icy Hot, I will not be holding back. I'll win the tournament and show you how much I've grown.
I plan on doing the same. Bakugo walked past Midoriya and spoke without turning around.
See you in the final match, Izuku.
He then stopped at the exit of the tunnel and added,
And if you tell anyone I said that touchy-feely crap, I will murder you. Got that?
While the students of 1A were sharing their feelings, All Might was seated in the stadium. The man was looking good after his healing. He had put on several pounds and his face had filled out. The man had an ice chest in the seat next to him. He opened it and took out a stack of homemade snacks. He then started stuffing his face. All Might was so busy eating that he didn't notice a figure coming up next to him until the last minute. The blond man turned to face the visitor with crumbs still on his face.
"Good afternoon, sir. Can I help you with something?"
The figure spoke in a calm tone.
"I think you can. My name is Katsuhito Masaki. I'm looking for All Might. A very chipper mouse man told me that I would find him here."
All Might put down his snack and wiped his face off.
"Katsuhito Masaki, you must be young Midoriya's grandfather." "That is me. I take it then that you are All Might."
"I am, sir. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. Young Midoriya has told me so much about you."
"The same can be said for you."
All Might picked up his ice chest and moved it to the seat to his left.
"Have a seat." "Thank you. I would be happy to."
The gray-haired man took the seat next to All Might.
"I see you came prepared for today's events."
Katsuhito pointed to the ice chest.
"Yeah, thanks to your grandson's healing, I can finally eat properly again." "I take it that your former diet left something to be desired."
"My stomach was so scarred from the surgeries to fix the hole that it was painful for me to eat most solid foods. Because of that, I wasn't able to eat the necessary calories every day. Now I'm trying to build myself back up, a little at a time."
"That is good to hear."
"So, I take it you've come to see your grandson in the finals?"
"I have. He's been doing marvelously so far."
"Sounds like you're proud of him."
"I am. The same could be said about you and Melissa."
"That is very true. Melissa will do great things with my power. She will be a kind and brave hero one day." A thought occurred to the #1 hero at that moment. "So, where is young Midoriya's mother? Did she not want to come?" A slight grimace came across the gray-haired man's face.
"My daughter has a delicate constitution. I'm afraid these events would have been too much for her if she saw them in person."
"I am sorry to hear that, but it is understandable. I look forward to seeing what comes next."
"As do I. Let us see how our successors do."
Meanwhile, in a dark warehouse, Shigaraki lay in a hospital bed. The young man had received many injuries from the USJ. All for One loomed in the shadows. The ridiculously tall man spoke in a haunting voice.
"How is our patient today, doctor?"
The bespectacled Dr. Garaki responded in a plain tone.
"He is healing well. He should be up in around another week or so."
The large man stroked his chin in a curious way.
"I find it interesting that UA had a student that could do this type of damage." "As do I, doctor. This development has changed the direction of our plan, but it was not unexpected. After all, I always have more than one plan in play."
Honey is a free browser add-on available on Google, Opera, Firefox, Safari. If it's a browser, it has Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, Kohl's. Wherever you shop, it's a good chance that Honey can save you money. All you have to do when you're checking out at these major sites is click that little orange button and it'll scan the entire internet and find discount codes for you. It only takes 2 clicks to install Honey. If there's a coupon code, they'll find it, and if there's not one, you can rest assured that you are getting the best price possible. And there's literally not a better one on the internet for that site. If you install Honey right now, you can save $50 to $100 on your shopping, doing nothing. There's literally no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks, over 10 million people use it, 100,000 5-star reviews, and unless you hate money, you should install Honey. Back at the stadium, everything had been set up for the finals to begin. Present Mike made the announcement in his normal groovy tone.
"The time has arrived, ladies and gentlemen, for the tournament finals of the UA Sports Festival to begin. Get excited!"
The crowd broke out in riotous applause. After the noise quieted slightly, Mike announced the first match.
"Here is our first match. From the 1A, the striking powerhouse, Melissa Shield, and from General Studies, Hitoshi Shinso."
Both students entered the ring to loud applause and a geyser of fire. Melissa was a little overwhelmed by all the attention. However, what surprised her more were her opponent's next words. Shinso spoke in a flat tone with a blank expression on his face.
That freak with the tail is your classmate, right? I can't believe he gave up his spot in the finals for such a stupid reason. Is he an idiot or something?
Melissa became enraged at Shinso's words. She charged at the boy while shouting at him, "Don't you talk about Ojiro like that!" After completing that phrase, the blonde girl stopped in the middle of the ring, and her eyes went blank. Shinso smiled at this. In a cocky voice, the teen said, "That's it. I win." The 1A students in All Might became very worried at this turn of events. All Might himself started to freak out. In fact, everyone in the audience was wondering what was happening. Aizawa took the mic and explained that Shinso's power was brainwashing. After his opponent answers a question, he gains complete control of their actions. Shinso looked at Melissa standing in front of him helplessly. "Looks like your power won't do you any good now. Turn around and walk out of the ring." Melissa's body did as the sunken-eyed boy commanded. Melissa tried to get her body to stop, but it wouldn't. Suddenly, a strange image appeared before the blonde's eyes. The image of 8 shadowy figures all staring at her. She suddenly felt the power of One for All surge through her body. Her fingers flexed on their own. This quick motion sent a powerful burst of air through the arena and broke the girl's fingers. Melissa gripped her injured hand. She now had full control of her body. She found the whole experience rather strange, but knew that she had a match to win. Melissa charged at Shinso once again. The odd boy knew that he had lost control. He tried asking many insulting questions to try and regain control, but Melissa was having none of it. The adamant girl ran at the purple-haired boy and grabbed him by the arm. She then executed a powerful shoulder throw that sent Shinso over the ring line. Midnight saw this and responded, "Shinso is out of bounds. The winner is Melissa Shield." The intelligent girl enjoyed the applause for a few moments, and then she exited the ring after giving a few encouraging words to Shinso. The wild-haired boy thanked her and told her to watch herself in the coming matches. She said that she would. As Melissa walked back to the 1A seating area, she was met by Midoriya and All Might. Midoriya repaired her broken fingers, and Melissa then turned to All Might and said that she needed to talk to him about her match. All Might nodded in silent understanding. Melissa thanked Midoriya for the healing and wished him luck in his battle with Todoroki. The green teen thanked her for that. He then realized that he had to get to the ringside and left in a hurry. Both All Might and Melissa laughed at the panicked look on Midoriya's face as he ran off. As Midoriya turned a corner, a large man blocked his path. The young man freaked out at the sight of the flame hero, Endeavor. The hulking man had a blazing gleam in his eyes. The man spoke with a deep voice. "You're Izuku Midoriya. You've performed expertly in the festival so far. That power of yours is most interesting." The man paused for a moment as he thought through his words. "To tell you the truth, I would have preferred if Shoto's first match was against the Shield Girl. Her power is very similar to All Might's, but you'll be a good first match for Shoto. Your abilities will let him showcase his power and let everyone know that he can surpass All Might. I look forward to a good match." Midoriya thought about saying something to the fire user, but didn't. After hearing about Todoroki's past and now meeting his father, the green teen understood why Todoroki was such a mess mentally. A voice spoke from down the hallway. "How strange. He seems so cold-hearted for a fire user." Midoriya turned to see his grandfather walking towards him. "Grandpa, what are you doing here?" The old man smiled at his grandson. "I came to wish you luck in the next match. I also wanted to tell you that you have performed very well so far. But after hearing that conversation, I feel there's more going on in this match than I thought." Midoriya told Katsuhito about Todoroki's past and his plans for the tournament. After a moment, the wise man said nothing, only speaking after finding the right words. "It sounds like Todoroki has been through much in his young life. However, you should not allow your feelings to dictate your actions in your match. Allowing this boy to win while denying a part of himself would be a great disservice to him.
But you already know that, don't you, grandson?
I do. You've taught me well, Grandpa.
Then you know what to do.
Midoriya nodded at the old man. The old man nodded back.
Good. Then go and conduct yourself as a true hero would.
Midoriya turned and continued towards the arena. The second match commenced. Midoriya and Todoroki entered the ring to the roar of the crowd. The two boys didn't speak to each other, but Todoroki has an irritated look on his face. This puzzled Midoriya. Midnight snapped her whip and called for the match to begin. Todoroki unleashed a massive wave of ice against Midoriya. The attack created a thick layer of ice over half of the arena. The crowd was stunned into silence. Midnight was about to call the match when the ice started to glow an eerie green. The ice then illuminated like a light bulb and disappeared. All that was left on the previously frozen side of the ring was Midoriya surrounded by an energy shield. Midoriya lowered his shield and looked at Todoroki with a firm gaze. That was a little over the top, wasn't it, Todoroki? The elemental teen stood with his right side covered in ice.
I'm sorry, Midoriya, I was just upset.
Midoriya nodded in silent understanding. Well, use your left side to defrost yourself, and let's start this match for real. A look of recognition crossed Todoroki's face. The teen then remembered that his class rep had healing abilities. Todoroki figured he'd probably use that power to gauge his condition.
I'm fine to continue.
Midoriya disappeared from Todoroki's sight. He then reappeared a foot in front of Todoroki with Tenchi pointed at the frozen boy's throat. Don't mess around with me, Todoroki. I know you can barely stand right now. I could easily defeat you, but that would be unfair, so use your fire to warm yourself.
I won't give that bastard the satisfaction.
Midoriya delivered a powerful kick to his classmate, sending him across the ring. The greenette spoke in an aggressive tone. Stop holding back, Todoroki! Everyone in this tournament is giving it their all to win. You think you can win with only half of your power? Don't make me laugh.
I told you, I will not use that bastard's power to win. It's your power, not his! Now stop holding back!
Todoroki was overwhelmed by Midoriya's words. The icy boy's left side burst into flames.
You want my fire? Then here it is. I hope you don't regret your decision.
The two boys went at it. Todoroki unleashed alternating waves of fire and ice. Midoriya used his Lighthawk shields to deflect most of the attacks, but he did receive some damage from the elemental assault. Normally, Midoriya would have used his healing ability to repair the damage, but Todoroki's attacks moved so fast that he couldn't take the time to do that. Midoriya knew he couldn't play defense the whole match, so the adamant teen moved in close and delivered several slashes to Todoroki's midsection. A lesser opponent might have fallen to the stunning power of these blows, but Todoroki was made of tougher stuff. The bicolored teen moved out of range to recover. The assault had been costly for Midoriya. He noticed that he had gotten several burns on his arms. The air around Todoroki was blazing hot. Both boys were on their last legs. Each of them could see that the combat had worn them thin, their energy levels bottoming out. Each boy glared at each other, knowing what they must do. The combatants gathered their remaining energy for one last assault. Midoriya called forth the power of the Lighthawk, while Todoroki called forth all of his fire and ice. Todoroki unleashed a wave of ice pillars in Midoriya's direction. Midoriya dodged the pillars by a hair using his airboard. Todoroki then unleashed all of his firepower in one massive wave. A wave of powerful air pressure made it so that the audience had to hold on to their seats or be blown away. Aizawa explained that this was because the air in the stadium was super cooled and then expanded rapidly after being superheated. This superheating also caused a blanket of mist to cover the arena. The whole crowd waited breathlessly for the mist to clear. After several minutes, the mist died down, and the scene in the ring was shocking. Both Todoroki and Midoriya stood in the ring with a cement wall between them. As the wall came down, both combatants stood unmoving in the ring. Midnight went to check on the boys. As she approached Todoroki, the bicolored teen fell backwards onto the arena floor. Midoriya remained standing, though he was breathing heavily. Midnight checked Todoroki for a pulse, and found that the boy was breathing, but unconscious. Midnight stood and took a deep breath. The winner of this match is Izuku Midoriya by knockout. The crowd was silent for a long moment, but then erupted into a riot of cheering. Midnight and the other teachers were shocked at the power that these two first years displayed. They knew that having a powerful quirk didn't mean you would be a great hero, but these two boys were amazing. Midnight called for the first aid drones to take the boys to Recovery Girl for treatment. The R-rated hero then said there would be a short break so that they could repair the ring. After the ring was repaired, the matches continued. Next up was Ryoko versus Momo. The dark-haired girl was overcome by Ryoko's raw power. Momo used her power to create shields to block the white-haired girl's assault. But Ryoko then ended the match by forcing Momo out of the ring before she could even counterattack. This outcome left Momo feeling weak and useless, but Ryoko picked the girl up and told her to use the events of this match to become better. Ryoko also pointed out that Momo needed to attack more. The fourth match pitted Kaminari against Sero. The match went to Sero after Kaminari shorted his brain out after a big attack. The match between Kirishima and Tetsu ended in a draw. Midnight announced that a tiebreaker would be held after the two boys recovered. Ida's match against Mei Hatsumi ended with Ida looking like a fool. Hatsumi used the engine-legged teen to advertise her babies. Fortunately, Ida got the win after Mei forfeited. In the match of Ashido vs Tokiyomi, the bird teen overpowered the acid user. Ashido was depressed but still showed great sportsmanship by congratulating her opponent. Tokiyomi returned the gesture and told Ashido that he would fight for her as well. Finally, it was time for Bakugo vs Uraraka. The pink-cheeked girl fought hard. Bakugo was booed repeatedly by the crowd for going too hard at her, but he didn't care. It seemed that Ochako might win the match with a brilliant meteor attack. However, it was not to be, as Bakugo ended this attack with a giant explosion. The bomb teen won the match after Uraraka passed out from exhaustion. With that, the next rounds of the finals would be decided once Kirishima and Tetsu recovered for their tiebreaker. All that was left to do was allow the other competitors to heal up and prepare for the next round. Thank you all for sticking around, and I hope that you've enjoyed. Before you leave, we would just like to let you know that We the Celestials has many other channels for your entertainment and viewing purposes. All the information you'll need is right below here in the description, so feel free to check out all the other incredible projects our team creates. Secondly, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in the production of today's awesome content. Their details will be in the description below. That's all for today's video, so farewell and have a divine day.